All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It is not Leslie that's hosting today. It is me, Joan T. Randall. Leslie is taking a little break. Leslie just had a beautiful new grandbaby. And so she is off on a well-needed break to help her daughter get situated. So I have the pleasure today of being the host for Author Spotlight. And I'm super excited to be here. Super excited today to be able to introduce Victorious U Press newest author. I am super excited to have Debby Jo with us today. Listen. Hi, Dr. Laxley. It is so nice to see you. Hello, everybody that's joining. Please drop your name in the chat so that we can say hello to you. I'm going to try. Hi, Miss Valerie. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining and supporting your friend, Debbie. I'm going to share this to the group, Books to Business and Beyond, so that we can have our group on that side to join us for this conversation. Listen, I was just talking to this amazing lady behind the scenes who wrote this incredible book. Hi, Miss Louise. So nice to have you here. This book, San, so nice to see you. Let me tell you, I have been publishing books for a long time. I have been helping people write books for years. Of the hundreds of books that Victorious U Press has published, this ranks number one. And this is no lie. This book ranks number one. Listen, ladies, gentlemen, girls and boys, this is a book like none other that I have read. To have this incredible human being sitting right here in front of me is an act of the Holy Spirit, because I'm telling you, I don't know if I would have been able to survive all the stuff that she experienced. But enough of that, right? Just remember, this book launches next week, Thursday, January 16th, right? So we're going to keep some of the highlight of the book, some of the juicy story of the book until next week, right? So Charlotte and Jessanne and Louise and Miss Valerie, you got to tell all your friends, and you're coming back right here next Thursday when she's going to read a portion of the book, and we're going to talk a lot more. She's going to give away a couple of gifts, right, for the launch of her book. Today, we're just going to talk about her as this brand new author and some of the things that she experienced as she was writing this book. And we also want her to tell us a little bit about her and the process of writing with Victorious U Press, and what does she have to do when she first met me? Okay, this is going to be a lot of fun. All right, so I'm so excited that you're here. Hi, Ellen. Thank you so much for joining. Let me just put up Ellen's thing. Ellen says, so excited to read this book. Love you, Deb, from Charlton and Helen. Hi, Carlton and Ellen Hooper from Maine. We are so happy to have you guys here. Charlotte says, so excited for you, Deb. Jessanne says, so excited for this, Debby Jo. Louise said hello. Valerie said hi. Lady, you are famous already, okay? And of course, this is my mentor, Dr. Laxley, and I told him about this book too. All right, so before we get into the crux of this conversation, Debby Jo, why don't you tell the audience that's watching and those who will watch the replay a little bit about you?
Okay, well, first, thank you so much to all my friends that are watching from everywhere. I love you all. You all have been so special in my life for forever. And to Miss Joan, I'm very blessed and grateful to be here today. If you only knew how blessed and grateful and honored I am. So about me, I was born and raised in Maine, where there's lots of snow. I was born and raised on a sheep farm. with about 300 sheep. So sheep have always been my life, my passion, my go-to, my safe place. I did a lot of different things throughout my life, but everything that I did was so I could do my sheep project. Because it's expensive and takes a lot of time and dedication in that. But I did jobs that, I had to do to save money in order to support my sheep project. And it was a passion and a dream I always had since I was little, since I could walk. My playground was my sheep barn. And I just always knew from the time I was little that I wanted to be a professional shepherd. Sheep are my life, and I was going to make that happen no matter what.
Man.
So it's always, I'm a farmer at heart. And
That
I moved here to Illinois. I'm in Illinois now. I've been here about 12 years. So it was a big change to leave Maine and all my friends and my life there. But this is sheep country out here. So I don't have to travel as far to shows, and the resources are much greater here. So we have lots of cornfields out here compared to Maine. So I'm in Illinois now, still have my sheep. I don't have as many, of course, but and still showing and competing and still living my dream.
Listen, that is so amazing. First of all, let me just say this, right? It is not very often that you get an opportunity to meet a shepherd, okay? A shepherdess. Let me say that. Let me put the ESS onto the end of her name. It is not very often that you get an opportunity to meet a shepherdess. So I need you in this 21st century to look at this beautiful shepherdess that is on our screen. So I'm so happy. And hey, Charmaine. Charmaine said, here's to living the dream. Yay! Charmaine is here. We're so excited to have Charmaine here. So we want to get into this conversation, right? Because listen, this was not an easy start, right, Deb? This was not an easy start for either of us, all right? No. So I want you to talk to your friends and everybody that's watching today. How did you connect with me? How did you connect with Victorious You Press?
Well, God works in mysterious ways, and I've always depended on him to lead me in the right way. And this is such an ironic story. One day I was thumbing through Facebook, and I saw the name Leslie Cottrell, who was a treasured friend of mine when I was little, back in Maine, still is. And I texted her and I said, "Are you the real Leslie Cottrell, my buddy from 55 years ago?" And she texted me right back, and it was my beloved Leslie. And so we started chatting, and how ironic, she works for Victorious You Press. And it was like the gates opened, like God opened the gates for me. It was meant to be. You can't think of it any other way. And so I casually mentioned to Leslie, that I was kind of thinking about writing a book and had started, writing some things down, and the rest is history. She just was so supportive and said, I remember she said, "Deb, it's your job to write your book. You owe it to the world to write your book." And it was a profound statement to me, and she encouraged me so much. And I signed up for her writing classes. I took like 6 weeks of her writing classes at night, and all the advice and direction and support she gave me just inspired me to sit down and write. It was just meant to be. And then I, of course, met Joan and Charmaine, my angel under my wings, my editor. I cannot say enough great things about Charmaine. She is the wind beneath the wings of this book. Her talent and dedication is just unmatched, how she helped me with my book. So between Leslie and Charmaine and Joan, God gave you all to me to write my story.
Wow.
It was meant to be.
That's
so
beautiful.
the last year I've been working real hard at it. I actually started 5 years ago. And I remember I wrote down on a little piece of paper, and I gave it to my husband, Bruce, and he read a little bit about it, and he passed it back to me, and he said, "This is going to be a phenomenal story." And it was 2020. And so 5 years in the making, but the last year after I connected with Joan and Leslie and Charmaine, I worked really hard on it, and Bruce kept sending me back into the office, get in there and write. Right. We chat at night about different things that happened in my life. And he would say, "You need to have that in your book." So I would continuously add, chapters, and it just grew into this story.
Listen, I don't know. I mean, it's, there's words like at a loss. I'm a talker, and I am at a loss for words. Hey, Pastor Lexi, how are you, my love? Thank you so much for joining. Hey, Jasmine, thank you for joining. We are talking today to Debby Jo Holmquist, who wrote a book called A Shepherdess Beaten But Never Broken. This book launches next Thursday at, I think it's 12 noon CST and 1 p.m. my time, right, Deb? Or is it 12 noon my time? Let me check. I want to make sure I'm telling you the right thing. All right. So it's 12 noon
your time.
Yeah. So 12 noon CST and 1 p.m. EST. It launches next Thursday. I'm going to invite you back because you have to hear about the story. Today, it's just to introduce Debby as a debut author. It's her first time writing. And so I wanted to give her the spotlight so she can talk about it. Then I'm going to give her the video that she can use the video to promote it because she has gotten speaking engagements already. She is going to go overseas. I want her to go overseas to promote this book. This is a big deal because her story is also, there is this parallel. Her story is a parallel about her life and how the sheep saved her life. Honestly, I believe that the sheep saved her life.
Yep.
Listen. Okay. We're looking at a 21st century real life shepherdess. So, all right, let's go to another question. So you connected with me through Leslie, your longtime childhood friend. Leslie knows parts of your story as well. And you connected with Leslie. You took Leslie's writing class, and then you wrote an entire memoir about your life. And then Leslie introduced you to me, the publisher, right? And so you wrote your book. Your book is ready to go. And you send your book to Victorious U Press. And Joan Thaxter Randall, the publisher, got your book and reached out to you. What did she say to you?
She said, "It's too long." It's too long. I said, "Well, it's 60 years worth."
I told this lady her book is too long. And I'm like, you got to make this into 2 books. And Debby lost it. I mean, she lost it.
I did.
She lost
it. Cut it down.
She said, I can't cut it down. I can't. Like, it was, but let me just share this in all honesty. When you write a book about your story, your life, there is an emotion that is attached to it. It's really emotional because you've got to go back to the parts of your life that was ugly, right, Deb? You had to go back. That's what she had to do. She had to take herself from where she is now and crawl back into the pain of the past to be able to put everything on paper. And all of a sudden, this person that don't know her from Adam is gonna look at the book. I didn't even really read the book. I looked at the number of words and said, oh my God, it's like 70 something thousand words. It's too long. And Debbie lost it. She lost it on me. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. I'm so sorry. I didn't really mean to say you need to cut the book in two. So we decided that we were going to do whatever we could in our powers, right, Deb? To make this work. It's the longest book we ever published. It's the longest manuscript that we have ever written or had written. And so I said, all right. So her and Leslie had a conversation and she was able to tweak some things here and there, right? And got it to where you wanted to be. And I knew I needed, my editors are powerful. My editors are the best, right? But for this particular book, I had one editor in mind, one. Out of all of my editors, I had one editor in mind for this particular book. Her name is Charmaine. And I reached out to Charmaine and I said, listen, I have a book that's coming your way and it's very long. It is very long, but I want you to do what God has gifted you to do with this book. And Charmaine just made it perfect. Right, Debbie?
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
Talk about that experience with Charmaine and her editing styles to get the book to where it is now.
Oh, I don't know if I could find the most eloquent words to describe Charmaine and her talents. Absolutely incredible, gifted beyond measure. She can turn words and thoughts and emotions and phrases into light and feeling and just sprinkled gold dust on my words, literally. I mean, she God-given talent, amazing. I cannot ever imagine another editor other than Charmaine. Yeah. God sent her to me for sure. Amazing. Like I said, she's the wind beneath the wings of this book. She just made it perfect. Yeah. I'm so grateful for her.
Yeah, absolutely. Charmaine, I'm telling you, she did that. And I remember when she finished the editing, she had a conversation with me and she said, this book is a movie. She said, I see this book on a screen. I see this book being on the big screen. I see this book as a movie. And she said she had to, as she was editing, she would pray and then edit, and then pray again and then edit, and then pray. So she was praying over the entire book as she was editing because of how profound the book was, but also because she wanted to make sure that you are at peace with the work, with the words of the book and what you experience. And she knew it was her job to make it polished and to make it beautiful. And man, when I tell you, we are Victorious. Yeah, Victorious Youth Press is so proud of that book. I'm telling you, I don't ever remember reading a manuscript like that. I don't think ever in my life read a manuscript.
My goodness. Thank you so much.
Yes. So for everybody that is here, for all of Deb's friends, for all of my folks, for everybody connected to me, for everybody that will join and show up on Thursday for this launch, you've got to get a copy. You've got to download the ebook next week, Thursday. We're going to give you the link so you can download it. You've got to download it. You've got to be able to read some of this. First of all, you're going to be blown away to even see her still alive, right? And being the shepherdess that she is, and the success of her life. Listen, anyway, let me stop because I can go on and on about this. Talk to everybody that's listening about the writing process, Deb. Like, how were you able to go back into some of those dark days and bring it forward on paper?
It wasn't easy. There were a lot of tears. I guess a lot of those memories never go away. You carry them with you, deep down inside your whole life. So, I've never forgotten any of them. So they were always, in my mind. But, it was not easy to sit down and write 55 years worth of your life. And, how do I convey to people, what happened and how it happened, and mostly the emotions. It was very difficult. And there were some chapters when I got done writing it that I just put my head down on my desk and sobbed, because I, brought that memory of pain and sadness to me that you never get over. But it's like writing is like reclaiming, a sense of control over your past.
Yeah.
It like gives you a voice of your memories, trapped memories that are in you. And it just helps you understand and process your emotions and your life. And it's therapeutic for sure, to sit down and write it. But it's not easy to recall some of the memories, but it's a healing process, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was, very painful. Some of the stories. There are some wonderful, hilarious chapters in the book too. Just absolutely hilarious, funny stories that happened along the way in my, sheep showing career, and people that I met. And so it's very inspirational story. It's a feel-good story. It makes you feel good. It's inspiring. And it ends with a jaw dropper.
Yeah.
That's really high and happy. And it's just a good, feel-good story, and very inspirational. And my hope is that it touches even just one person that says, I read your book and you helped me.
Yeah.
You gave me hope. That's
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? I'm glad you said that there are some chapters that are full of joy, right? Because that's the truth. And the thing is, you have to understand that this story is not just all pain, right? But there is, all these sprinkling of beautiful things that happened, and a lot of success and a lot of wins, right? And I think the takeaway today is, as we're talking to Debbie, that first of all, that you all have a story, right? That's the first thing. Secondly, I love how you said, Debbie, that it gives you control and power over who you are and your life and your story, right? You don't have to always be thinking of, this happened to me and I've not done anything with it. How do I take this out? How do I take the power over that story, right? Over the pain of that story, out, over the hurdle of that story. And this is what you did. You just took your control back over everything that has ever happened, as a child and as you go through this process. So that's what the story does, right? The story gives us an opportunity to take our power back. And I'm so happy that you wrote it. Go ahead.
I came up with three words to summarize it.
Yes.
When I was done: repair, regain, and recover.
Look at that. Repair, regain, and recover. So if you don't walk away from today, with anything from Debbie, those are those powerful words, right? Repair,
True.
regain, and recover.
And recover.
It's beautiful. It is exactly as it should be. What was it like having the writing coach and the editing and the whole connection to the Victorious You Press team? What was that like for you?
Oh, it was my family. I mean, you guys have Victoria's U Press has been my family, my backbone, my support. I couldn't have done this. I'm not just saying this. I could not have done this story without all of you. To know that you're there to inspire and support and educate. I don't consider myself a writer. I'm a farmer. I'm a shepherdess. So I went into a territory that was unknown to me, and I learned as I went, through the help and support of you folks. I never would have been able to do my story without the immense support. I was able to call and text and email, and you guys always responded to me and helped me. Just instrumental. I couldn't have done it without you.
Awesome.
For sure.
I love it. And so we are excited that you say that. Is there anything, Debbie, that you would like to share with the audience as we prepare for your launch next Thursday? Is there anything you'd like to share with the people? Doesn't matter what it is.
First of all, thank you again to all my friends for your love and support. I have the best friends in the world. Yes. I do. And my family and Bruce and just I am blessed beyond measure. And this story will, I hope, inspire people to believe in yourself. And how do I want to say this? You can always find a light in the darkness, and just believe in yourself and find your passion and stick to it and don't ever give up. That's been my motto throughout my whole book, is never give up. I'll give you a little tidbit. When I ran away from home as a teenager, I left with a half a bag of clothes and $8 in a penny jar. That's what I had to my name when I left. And I survived. And I was going to be a shepherdess. I was going to have my sheep, and I was going to show sheep, and no matter what. And with the little possessions that I had, I made it work and pursued my dream. And you can too.
Wow.
You can too. If I can, you can.
That is amazing. You talk about resilient. Wow. You talk about perseverance. You talk about power. That day when you ran away, you took your power into your own hands. How old were you when you ran away? Let the people know.
17. Just graduated out of high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Debbie said, I am out of here.
Yeah. My father spit in my face and put his finger in my face, and he said, you will never be anything, and you will never raise a sheep again without my help.
Wow.
So I said, well, we'll see.
And you just say, I'm out. Man, I'm telling you, you guys, Charmaine know the story. Leslie know the story. I know the story because we have been intimately involved in this book. But let me tell you, this is a story unlike any story. And I cannot wait for next Thursday when we come back right here. We're going to be showing on YouTube. We're going to be showing it here. We're going to broadcast it in the group. Please come back and support Debbie next Thursday. The launch of the ebook. The ebook is only going to be $3.99. But we want as much people as possible to download the book next week, Thursday, right? Not only do we want to get Debbie on the bestsellers list, we want to get Debbie on the international bestsellers list. And we also want to submit this book for an award because this book is powerful. I would love to send a copy of this book to someone that can turn this book into a movie. That is how powerful this book is. That is how amazing this book is. So if you know anyone that can do screenwriting or anything like that, we want to know so we can get this. Charmaine says, wonderful, a powerful testimony. And then Dr. Lexi said, let's get her there. Let's get her on this bestsellers list. We gonna do everything that we can to get this book into bookstores. We want this book to go to other shepherdess that are in the world, right?
Yes.
There's a country, Debbie, that do a lot of the sheep showing. Where's that country again?
Well, we do a lot here in the United States. Actually, I was on a live interview in Australia about 3 weeks ago with the Australian Sheep Breeders Association. So that was really fun. It was like a 50-minute interview, and we talked about my life as a shepherd, and they kind of asked me some advice on different things I should talk about in the sheep world. And they invited me to come back again in February and do it again. But, as far as like the most competitive sheep shows, they're here in the United States in Louisville at the North American, which was just in November. There's 5,000 sheep in competition down there. So they're really the best in the world is right here in Louisville, Kentucky, USA.
Wow. And so talk a little bit about being a shepherdess. What does all of that entail? Just so somebody who is listening will understand it a little better.
Oh, a big heart, a passion for animals. You have to have a strong heart and a strong back. It's physically very demanding, but I think the most is you have to have compassion for animals. You have to have a love for animals. You see life and death and, sickness, but to me, it's the best career in the world. You get to make breeding decisions and make better sheep. And, during lambing time when the babies come along and, you help deliver newborn baby lambs, and the first time they cry, and they're getting air and the mom's talking to them. It's like, that's the best in the world. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of dedication, hard work, physical work. But it's so rewarding when you raise beautiful animals and you compete with them and they do well, and you inspire, young people, youth to, have sheep and compete, and you learn so much about life on a farm. It's priceless.
Wow.
It's my life. Priceless.
That is amazing.
It just opens your world to so much. I mean, another little tidbit in my book, when I was showing at the Royal Winter Fair in Toronto, Canada, when I was 16, I got to meet Prince Philip.
Wow.
I had won a Canadian national championship for someone I was helping show, and he came over to our pens and shook the owner's hand in my hand, and Prince Philip was watching the sheep show in Toronto. So I mean, you never, you meet so many people and experiences, and it's just the best life. Farming is the best life, but you can't be afraid to get your hands dirty,
right?
And pull all-nighters in the barn, and it's a lot of work, but it's the best.
Wow. I love it. I love it. Well, guys, you heard it here first, or maybe seen your first shepherdess, right? Right? On Victorious You Press TV. We have some feedback, some sounds going. I mean, make sure. make sure we're turning down. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Thank you, Debbie, for coming on today to do a little interview about yourself. We will see you, everybody, coming back at 1 p.m. EST, 12 noon CST next Thursday as Debbie launches her book, A Shepherdess Beaten but Never Broken. This is the true life story of a shepherdess from her youth all the way through her teenage years. All the information about showing her sheep and how she was able to overcome abuse, abuse and become one of the most phenomenal raiser or herder of sheep and the beautiful sheep that she has won so many awards for. All right. So, Debbie, thank you so much for giving us some of your time this afternoon. And we look forward to next week. God bless you. Thank you, guys.
So much.
You're welcome,
Thank
darling.
you.
Bye.
Bye.